Okay, listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me on X or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. You can listen to this podcast on YouTube at Let's Learn Sumo, YouTube Music, and your normal pod streaming service. Welcome to day 10 and 11 of the Nagoya Basho 2024. Check the comments if you want to skip to day 11. I will put a time marker there for day 11 as we move along. So let's go back to day 10. It's really on day 10 was just a chase to see if anyone can catch our Yokozuna Terunofuji at this point. Any doubts as to his fitness and health have been quashed as he not only gained Kachikoshi winning record, but continues to lead the pack by 2 bouts over Korizakura, who was on 8 wins after day 10 as well. We'll get to that in a minute. So, sole contender at this stage. Those remaining 3 behind, with Korizakura on 8, those on 7 and 3 behind, is Hoshoryu, Takanosho, I should say, Shodai, Churanumi, and Wakatakakage doing well at 7 wins after day 10. So let's get into those fights and let's have a look at what happened. Kirishima, our Sekiwake, who was Karaban Ozeki, trying to get 10 wins, faced Yokozuna Terunofuji for the first time since his, well, some would say humiliating loss to Terunofuji in January of this year, where he suffered a fairly ignominious defeat, being tossed at pace from the dohyo. The term is being yeeted, and he was well and truly yeeted. Well, to continue his pain, Kirishima suffered another defeat to the Yokozuna today. Simply put, Kirishima couldn't have done more to help Terunofuji win if he wanted to. Off the tachiai, he went straight in, gave Terunofuji both arms, which the Yokozuna then tied up as his style got total control of Kirishima and back to the bales and over. Look, he struggled for a second. He used one of the arms in a Kotenage lock, trying to get him over, but it was all too much. Kirishima went around and over with the arm lock Kotenage throw. Look, hit the dirt. It's difficult to make a case that you are good enough to be a Yokozuna until you can actually beat the Yokozuna. And Kirishima hasn't done that in 12 tries. Korizakura. He was up next against the Shin Sekiwake Onosato. He gave him a brief lesson on day 10. Onosato drove into the tachiai, seemed to decide better of going straight for the grip, went for a bit of minor thrusting and pushing. Korizakura decided he wanted the belt, and he threw his left hand into a deep rear grip. Didn't really have total control. He was a bit extended, but he pulled Onosato in close to that pillow-like body. Onosato absorbed into his stomach. He knew the game was up. He took it to inside right while Korizakura had the outside left. He used that outside grip to turn Onosato around and over, a Watanabe throw at the bales. Onosato was looking a little bit nonplussed about that losing. Korizakura, he's got a bit of a history of Watanabe, so if you get on the belt with him, you're in trouble. Like I said, Korizakura, he is the lone man on 8 wins after 10 days. Onosato, he needs another 3 for Kachikoshi. Hoshoryu, he kept himself in the chasing pack with those 7 wins. Fairly easy win over Shononumi. Hoshoryu immediately went for the outside left belt grip as Shononumi had the inside run on his belt. Shononumi turned Hoshoryu around with his grip on that belt, but as he did, Hoshoryu got his left ankle around behind Shononumi's ankle and tripped him backwards. Sotogake, rear hooking leg trip, is the Kimarite, one of Hoshoryu's specialties. He does like to trip his opponents up. Talk about walking into your opponent's trap yet again, similar to Kirishima. 7 wins for Hoshoryu, 5 for Shononumi. Takakeisho was a little bit unlucky to take a loss to Abi, but I'm sure these wrestlers practice being the Tawara dancers, the Bale dancers, regularly. Takakeisho came blasting out of the tachiai. That is his strength. immediately thrust Arby to the north side bail extension, the Torawara bales, the little extensions on the bales on the north and south side, and the east and west as you see them. There's 4 of them. They're basically the leftovers of when they used bales of hay. So that's how you entered the ring. So the Torawara bales, well, as Arby retreated, he kept a foot on the bale. As he was going backwards over the bales, he was in the air, but his foot was still on the bales and Takakoso was going down on his front. The slow-mo replay angle right to the side show Arby still in, touching the bales as Takakoso went down, touched his hand outside the bales first. So Arby was not dead body, he was still touching and in. Monoe was the Gyoji actually gave the fight to Takakeisho. The judges, the Shimpan judges, they called a Monoe conference. They overturned the Gyoji's decision and awarded it to Arby, which, funnily enough, elicited a bit of a raised eyebrow from our Karaban Ozeki. He's usually fairly stoic about these things. He was not overly convinced, but I think if he saw the replay, he will understand why he lost. He's now in a bit of deep trouble there. He's got to face the Upper Sanyaku this week still, needing another 4 wins to keep his Ozeki rank and not drop down to Sekiwake like Kirishima. Unfortunately, he can only afford 1 more loss at 4 wins and 6 losses. Arby, he's doing fine at 6 wins so far with 4 days to go. Wakamoto Haru, he was blasted at the tachi-eye by Hiradumi, who then pushed him back to his preferred defence position on the bales. Hiradumi had his left arm planted right up under the armpit of Wakamoto Haru. He disengaged in a hurry, caught Wakamoto Haru's arm on the way back. Wakamoto had all his weight forward in defence. It flew forward onto his front, spread eagle. Hikiyatoshi arm pull down is the call, but it was pretty much Wakamoto Haru's weight transfer more than anything else. He's in trouble again. 4 wins with only 5 days left on day 10. Hiradumi, he was just powering through at 6 wins on day 10. Daisho won a thrusting push battle against Atami Fuji fairly quickly. His strength in Sappari is just too much for most people. Oshidashi is the call. Daisho improves to 6 wins. Atami joins that group under pressure with 4 wins. Meisei is now Makekoshi with 8 losses after his match with Mitakayumi, who pulled a bit of a fancy little Tsukiyatoshi at the bales just before he gracefully left the dojo. Meisei had the push on, but Mita's diagonal body push down was pretty well executed. Mita joins the 4 group. Meisei 2 and 8 in all sorts of trouble. Takanosho, he just overpowered a driving Gonayama with a Yorakiri, got himself into the 2nd group with 7 wins. Gonayama, he's on wood with 7 losses on day 10. Ura, he went super low at the tachi-eye on day 10 with a very strong Oho, used his position to lift Oho's centre of gravity. He got Oho's left arm and yanked him across and pulled him out of the dojo Totari arm pull. Tricky, good tactics on the stronger wrestler. Ura now with a chance of Kachikoshi at 4 wins in that pressured group. Oho still on 6. Tobizaru, he accounted for Kota Shoho with 5 wins apiece there. Ashoma beat Satanumi to go 5 wins and Satanumi on 3. He's now Makikoshi. Shodai, he stayed in the hunt with 7 wins. Nasty little direction change, which kind of bamboozled Kimbozan at the last moment. Kimbozan got a decent Nottawa thrust and forced Shodai back. Shodai moved away a little bit and Kimbozan committed. Shodai then changed tack, pushed Kimbo over onto his hands. Tsukiyatoshi diagonal pushdown, really well executed if he meant it. Ryuden, he's on wood, but he got a win over Roga. Takara Fuji beat Tamawashi. Talk about sumo on double speed. Wakataka Kage met the pocket rocket Midori Fuji. That match was so fast on slow-mo, it still looked quick. Look, bit of a head clash at the tachi-eye between the pair of them. Couple of thrusts by both of them. Wakataka Kage, he then got hold of Midori Fuji's left upper arm outside. He used it to push up and get Midori moving to the side. Midori Fuji recovered, went straight in for right inside belt grip. Waka could not get the belt grip immediately, but he locked up Midori's arm as their offside arms flailed about a little bit. Let me get that right. Midori Fuji lost the grip shortly after on the belt, and as they struggled with the arms, Wakatakakage reversed to the bales, sidestepped and pulled Midori Fuji through. Midori pirouetted, but he was just too far out of position and got oshidashied from the ring. A push out, willing, frenetic, I should say, and just as always exciting to watch, kind of like Ura, whether he wins or loses. So anyway, Wakatakakage, he progressed to 7 wins in that chasing pack. Midori Fuji doing respectably on 6 wins after 10 days. Chiranumi gave up his chance to be in the chasing group with Kodazakura after an untimely loss to Endo. A fascinating struggle for arm dominance with a bit of pushing, thrusting, a lot of movement around the ring. They struggled to go for the first part and ended up in a stalemate in the centre. Chiranumi tried to break the deadlock with a lifting twist, but Endo, he just gave a decent pushing drive for a Yorikiri. Chiranumi fell to 7 wins, Endo on 6. So that was day 10. Still happening. Day 11 arrived, and we were all sitting around going, well, Terunofuji is running away with this, 2 wins in front. And then he faced Onosato, the Shin Sekiwake, who beat him on day 1 in March. And we were all saying, well, I'll be hornswoggled. Maybe those are not the words we were using, but we were definitely surprised. Terunofuji faced off with what is fast becoming his nemesis from the Senyaku ranks, Onosato. Onosato and Terunofuji had what I would call not a big touchy eye, not too much power, not quite a standing start. They went in and Onosato looked for the outside grip, then he looked for an inside grip. Terunofuji was searching for the belt. Onosato then disengaged, caught the Yokozuna, most unlike him, caught him off guard, got a hand on his side and helped him down to the dirt. Suki Itoshi, most unlike Terunofuji lately with his balance. The cushions flew, Zubineri, the announcer told people to stop throwing cushions, but what are you going to do? It was pretty much deserved for Onosato. The cushion throw is known as either a source of ridicule for a wrestler, but more likely a source of congratulations for someone beating the Yokozuna. After 10 undefeated days, the Shin Sekiwake had defeated Terunofuji, and for 2 tournaments in a row. Should we be excited? Well, let's look at some facts. Kirishima at Ozeki has never defeated Terunofuji in 12 or 13 attempts. Kodazakura has never defeated Terunofuji in 7 attempts. Hoshoryu has never defeated the Yokozuna in 10 attempts. All of these 3 wrestlers are trying to become Yokozuna. The current Senyaku does not have a good record against Terunofuji, and now Onosato, our Shin Sekiwake, has beaten him twice in a row. But you know who has a better record against him? Our big bear Takayasu, 13 and 12. We look forward to many more matches. We hope Takayasu comes back. Yokozuna slightly opened the door for a chasing pack on 10 wins. Onosato 6 wins and helping the field chase. On the other matches for today, Hoshoryu, he beat Arby. They met at the Tachiai. Arby went for a big Nodowa neck thrust, forced Hoshoryu back. Hoshoryu, he grabbed one arm of Arby, yanked that arm, pulled Arby around slightly off balance, yanked again, pulled him over the bales. A nice little Ura-like Totari arm twisting pull for Hoshoryu. He now is in the chasing pack at 8 wins. Arby is now on 6 wins. Kirishima, he was under pressure and going up against his fellow previous Ozeki, Kodazakura. Kirishima showed some fight and got into a bit of a thrusting battle, which put Kodazakura off balance. He keeps up the pressure, pushing and shoving Kodazakura off balance back to the bales for a final shove out. Oshidashi, and he keeps his dreams alive of 10 wins going to get back to Ozeki. He's 6 wins with 4 matches left. Kodazakura, however, falls back to 2 fights behind the Yokozuna at 8 wins. Daisho, he was up against Wakamoto Haru. He fairly easily accounted for him. A blasting, threshing Sapari machine off the Tachiai. to thrust Wakamoto Haru out. Daisho on 7 wins. Wakamoto Haru in a bit of trouble. He's on wood now, 4 and 6. One more loss, and he is Makekoshi at Magashira 2. He has really fallen out of the Sanyaku. Hiradumi, he did a job on Atami Fuji. He is just so powerful in this tournament. He got a front belt grip used to control Atami Fuji. Belly pumped and sheer will forced Atami Fuji over the bales Oshidashi, having an excellent tournament in the meat grinder position at Shin Komusubi, 7 and 4. One more and he will keep that position and maybe even advance to Sekiwake. Atami Fuji on wood as well on 4 wins. Ah, Ura, dear oh dear. This low fighting style, gee, it has its positives, but gee, it also has its negatives. You go back to earlier in the tournament where he used it to come up from low on, I think it was Gonayama. Well, Ura and Meisei, that had really good tachi. Ura tried to keep Meisei off. They engaged in a fierce arm battle as Ura went back to the bales and he crouched really low, but as he went backwards, he was a bit too low. He overbalanced and Meisei just oshidashied him out fairly easily. It was a really poor bit of sumo by Ura, who is now on wood at 4 wins. Meisei, he's Makekoshi already and just saving face at 3 wins. Tobizaru accounted for a bigger Mitakayumi. Impressive strength display. He body pumped the big man over for 6 wins. Mitakayumi is also on wood with 4 to go. Shonanumi, he beat Tamawashi Yorakiri, 5 wins Tama, 6 wins to Shonanumi. Takanosho, he left himself in with a chance by beating Shodai fairly easily. Oshidashi thrust over the bales and he goes to 8 wins. Shodai on 7. Churunumi, he joined the 8 club against Oho. It was all a bit too easy. Just drove Oho straight back and out. A little bit disappointing there from Oho. He's got far more strength to be put up a better defense than that. Kota Shoho won a bit of a pushing battle against Ichi Yamamoto. 6 wins apiece there. Sadanumi beat Nishiki Fuji. Oshi Tayoshi pushdown. Hokuto Fuji beat Ryuden by locking his arms up like the Yokozuna. Both arms locked up, forced him back over the bales. Kimadashi. A kimadashi is where you lock up the arms in an underarm grip to limit their movement and force them out of the ring. It's very much a favourite of Terunofuji also. Hokuto Fuji did well to pull that one off. Kimadashi. Endo, he picked up another unusual kimarite tonight, a kiri kaeshi, which is effectively a minor inner foot sweep. Well, a better way to put it is that you put your knee on the outer side of your opponent's leg, twist backwards, and help your opponent down. So it's a rear tripping pull down with your knee. So Kimbo's arm was a willing participant there. Endo got 7 wins up for that lovely Kimarite. Kimbo, he made his Makikoshi for his troubles. Oshoma, he beat Roga. And Midori Fuji had a bit of a slap push fest with Bushozan using some fairly fancy footwork to get out of his way and okuridashi him, which meant he got behind the slower moving Bushozan, who's quite a large man. It's like turning the Queen Mary cruise ship, takes a while. Midori Fuji is faster on his feet. He got behind and push, and out went Bushazan. Wakataka Kage, he got a bit of a freebie tonight. Easy match, I would think. Funnily that he was matched against Chiyoshoma at his wins. He got control of Chiyoshoma's belt for an Owata Dashinage open belt throw to see him advance to 8 wins as well. So on day 11, that leaves us with Terunofuji on 10 wins, 2 behind Kodazakura, Hoshoryu, Takanosho, Churunumi, and Wakataka Kage. What did I say last week? He was going to sneak his way up. He got a bit of an easy one tonight. I would expect Waka to be promoted up the list. 7 wins, Daisho, Hiradumi, Shodai, Midori Fuji doing well. I expect a Kachikoshi out of him. Endo really well, 7 wins. Kagayaki also down the lower order, 7 wins. 6 wins with 4 days to go. Abi, Onosato, Kirishima, Tobizaru, Shonanumi, Oho, Kodoshoho, Oshoma, and Bushozan. Remember, Kirishima needs another 4, so effectively he is on wood. Down the list, no wins. Well, our Kyujo people, Takayasu and Onosho. 2 wins, Nishikigi uh, got himself a win this evening. 3 wins, Meisei, Gonayama, Ryuden, Kinbozan, Sanayama, who's Kyujo, and Chiyoshima, who's come back. So they're all Makekoshi. Atami Fuji, Wakamoto Haru, Mitakayumi, Ura, Sadanumi, and Takara Fuji all need to win all of their matches going into the rest of this tournament. The other person who's in deep trouble, Takakosho, he's on 5 wins. He needs another 3 from 4 days, but he does need to face the rest of the Sanyaku. So not an easy journey for him. So it's been just a touch more interesting, but they all fell 2 behind Terunofuji. We will watch with bated breath. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the tournament. I'll talk to you again. Hakiwa listeners, let's learn sumo.